I come from a huge family on both sides. My dad has 6 brothers and sisters. On my mom's side, my grandmother had 8 brothers and sisters. So I have more first cousins than like streets named Peachtree in Atlanta. I love my family. They're my support system. My mom and I are super close. Like, I'm a mama's boy, and I have no shame in saying that.
Good morning. My name's Cynthia Renee McMullen Bentley, and I'm Seth's mother.
Me and my mom are like, best friends. There's nothing that's off limits. There's nothing I can't ask her.
What do you say about your child as a mother?
Just like it was when I was growing up. Her advice is always unbiased.
He's been very studious, always liked to stay in the house, to the point that on Saturdays I would put him out to go to the local park down the street to play, and he would return promptly about 2 hours later, wanted to go back up and read his comics. I used to call them dolls, but in terms of a young man, they're actually not dolls, they're figurines.
My mom is the one that I credit for my palate. She tried to expose us to as many different types of cuisine as possible. And one of our favorite things, me and my mom love Pan-Asian food, like everything Filipino, Japanese, Chinese food, anything you name it. We try to go out and get that a lot as well as prepare it. So the dish that we're gonna make today is kind of a play on that. We're gonna make shrimp fried cauliflower rice. About 3 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with congestive heart failure, and it was something that rocked me to my core.
The symptoms became worse. I could not walk 2 steps, 3 steps without being completely out of breath. My foot swelled even more. There were shoes I couldn't wear. I couldn't breathe. Months that I had to sleep in the guest room with my feet up because of the swelling. And after about 6 months of going through the medicine, it was determined that I needed a pacemaker. That was a really, really tough time. Many times when I went to sleep, I really think I was gonna wake up.
It was really strange. Like, my mom never had even as much of like a cold. And from her to go to that to, being seriously ill and barely being able to make her way from her car to her office, for her to be, that ill, it really, really broke my heart, and it was really hard to watch.
And in that journey that I went through, I've always had a battle with my weight as well. And I prayed, Lord, I need to lose some of this weight, and I want to maintain it. And through my journey with my health, I lost my appetite.
So I'm glad now that she's lost a great deal of weight. I'm proud of her for that. She's, changed her eating habits. As, like a child, you want your parents to be around forever. And I'm glad that my mom is back to her old self, and she's, back to being, who she was, and she feels a lot better than she did. My cousin is an incredible trainer. He's one of the top trainers in the nation, one of the best people I've ever worked out with.
How you doing? Gerald, Rassan Fitness. I build, total overall, fit bodies. So using your, entire self, building your core, your glutes, your back, shoulders, everything that's going to be complementing, a perfect physique.
Growing up, Gerald and my other little cousins would come to me with advice. And now that I'm getting older, I find the roles are reversing. Like, I can't really call G my little cousin anymore. He's bigger than me. And I'm like, man, I admire you. I admire the shape that you've gotten in. I admire the career that you've created for yourself. Teach me the ways of the Jedi.
I was always the fun, annoying little cousin that made everything trouble.
We all went to the same elementary school, and my grandmother babysitted us all during the summer, so we were always together.
So it was always his brother, and then my brother.
Playing video games, fighting over video games, fighting in the front yard, backyard, playing in the pool, driving my grandmother insane.
We were getting babysitted by my grandma, and I bit his brother actually on the back. I don't know what that actually, started that kind of scuffle, but it wasn't a good day for both of us.
It was good times.
He's always been the bigger, funny guy of the group.
I've tried on my own to lose the weight and kind of, failed, and it's been a huge experimental phase.
And when he came to me to, enhance and improve his lifestyle, of course, I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure he's, living an overall, high top, quality of life, which is great because that's what I do every day.
Like I mentioned before, my weight has fluctuated over the last couple years. Since I've been working out with my cousin, he's really given me the tools that I need to sculpt and get my body in the shape that I wanted.
My profession, the plyometrics, using your entire self, building, a conditioned, overall feminine physique.
Before I started working out with him, I never even heard the term plyometrics. He specializes in training women. Like I said, I'm one of the only guys, and I mean one between only maybe one or two other of us or whatever, but he only trains women. So you get, the benefits of a workout and you get some eye candy while you're here.
Most people don't focus specifically on the feminine body, so that funnel is perfect for me because there's nobody else out there that does it like me.
My definition of family has changed over the years. My family now includes, my friends, people that I've met in college, people that I've met in high school. Me and my siblings are three fundamentally different people. We never really had a common bond, beyond girls or anything like that. We never had a common bond. And I always thought it would be cool to be that sibling pair that starts those really cool businesses and stuff like that. Kind of like my boys, Ashley and Ainsley. They are my Morehouse brothers. They graduated. They were seniors when I was a freshman at Morehouse.
My name is Ashley Sean Thomas, fashion stylist here in Los Angeles, California.
I'm Ainsley Samuel Thomas from Flint, Michigan, currently residing in Los Angeles, California, co-owner of Bad Penny Clothing, along with
Gregory Plummer and Terrence Campbell.
And Kobe's got a piece of it too.
I actually got my start by assisting Ashley. He's also a celebrity stylist, but they started a really insanely successful clothing line called Bad Penny, and they've achieved the goal of anybody who gets into the clothing business. They've actually gotten their stuff at retail, so you can find it at, Men's Land and Tradition and the Beverly Center and a bunch of other places. You guys being from Michigan, how did you guys decide on LA and then decide to come out here together?
Well, New York was my first stop.
When I was in college interning, I went to New York and interned with Ralph Lauren. And after that, went to Milan, left Milan, went back to New York, then came to LA. And I've been here for 6 years, something like that.
How'd you guys come up with the name Bad Penny? Where'd that come from?
It wasn't in the
Chelsea.
The Chelsea,
on in Midtown, New York. It's like an enclave for artists.
Yeah, a lot of artists
in New York.
especially back in the day.
Jimi Hendrix been through there.
And that's every genre.
Madonna,
music,
everybody.
Fashion, artists, just artists in general.
I was able just to fuse with artists. This is what we came up with. You see pennies on the ground everywhere. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how we want our clothing. It's for everybody, everywhere. A penny is the only coin of color. If you know that, it's all the pennies that you have, so that's automatically different.
What is it like to be able to work with your family, to be able to work with your twin?
I knew that's where you were going to, and I'm laughing because it puts a little extra stress on a great relationship. Yeah. But when you come up with something together, nothing beats that.
The collection is amazing. Tell me about where the inspiration came from.
I think all of that has been a process as we come up with the line. We want to do something that's a little bit more innovative, some things that you don't really see. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the wash that you see on this shirt is really something that other brands aren't doing. You know what I'm saying?
We always kind of wanted to come up with something to dress ourselves with, to be honest.
Where do you guys see, the brand going, moving forward?
I hope to be moving in is doing more of these cut and sew kind of pieces. You know what I'm saying? Where here we have a pure threaded mesh, you know what I'm saying, short, and maybe we'll do tuxedo stripes down the side. Something that's a little bit more, like you said, timeless, getting more into luxury sportswear than just sportswear. You know what I'm saying?
This is my family. Whether blood or not, I love and cherish my relationships with them. These are a band of people that I can lean on, laugh with, and can talk to about anything. They're my comfort and my insanity. My insanity in some cases. They're essential, they're irreplaceable, they're fundamental. with congestive heart failure, and it was something that rocked me to my core.
The symptoms became worse. I could not walk 2 steps, 3 steps without being completely out of breath. My foot swelled even more. There were shoes I couldn't wear. I couldn't breathe. Months that I had to sleep in the guest.
I come from a huge family on both sides. My dad has 6 brothers and sisters. On my mom's side, my grandmother had 8 brothers and sisters. So I have more first cousins than like streets named Peachtree in Atlanta. I love my family. They're my support system. My mom and I are super close. Like, I'm a mama's boy, and I have no shame in saying that.
Took him out to go to the local park down the street to play, and he would return promptly about 2 hours later. Wanted to go back up and read his comics. I used to call them dolls, but in terms of a young man, they're actually not dolls, they're figurines.
My mom is the one that I credit.
Good morning. My name's Cynthia Renee McMullen Bentley, and I'm Seth's mother.
Me and my mom are like, best friends. There's nothing that's off limits. There's nothing I can't ask her.
What do you say about your child as a mother?
Just like it was when I was growing up. Her advice is always unbiased.
He's been very studious, always liked to stay in the house to the point that on Saturdays I would put it
For my palate, she tried to expose us to as many different types of cuisine as possible. And one of our favorite things, me and my mom love Pan-Asian food, like everything Filipino, Japanese, Chinese food, anything you name it. We try to go out and get that a lot as well as prepare it. So the dish that we're gonna make today is kind of a play on that. We're gonna make shrimp fried cauliflower rice. About 3 years ago, my mom was diagnosed